Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. It is patch day for Street Fighter 6. We are now in Season 4 of the game, and we have changes affecting every single character in the game. Now, some are bigger, some are smaller. In their own words in the patch notes, which will be linked in the video description if you want to check them out, they're here to shake things up. And I don't know if they did that. You be the judge. But there's definitely changes for everyone. But don't expect the tier list to shake up that much. Let's put it that way. And of course, we're going to be covering every single character. There'll be timestamps for every single character. And you can skip forward to whoever makes sense for you. I'm sure this video is going to be a longer video. So if you could leave a like for timestamps on a longer video, it would be greatly appreciated. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start with the face that runs the place. Let's just go with Ryu, right? And Ryu, well, he's really strong. Did Ryu get nerfed? Not really. Did Sagat really get nerfed? Not really. Did Mai get nerfed? She got some buffs and some nerfs. Terry got buffs. Like, it's a weird patch in a lot of ways because, the usual suspects you think would need help. Brother. Let's just go to Ryu. So for Ryu, how about we start with a buff, a straight buff, and that's the forward heavy punch, the solar plexus, which has been buffed a lot over the years as it stands. So now this move, which is plus on block, has less pushback on block. What does that mean? Well, it means he's always, as long as you do it up front, he's always going to be in throw range directly with those plus frames now. Like, he doesn't even have to micro walk or anything. He can just go for it right away. Here we are pre-patch, and even if I'm literally touching the opponent, not in throw range. But now in the new build, yep, we can do it. It works. Also, I just want to brag a little bit here. I can switch between builds, pre-patch or not, like on the fly now. So yeah, that's pretty cool actually. Also, when you do his command normal forward heavy kick and go into Tatsu from it, the blowback has been reduced, meaning the opponent is just quite a bit closer to you. So it's just that much easier to like dash in, pressure him, do whatever you want to do. Besides that, he's got some what are effective bug fixes. Not tons of changes, but they are there. Now, Luke has quite a bit. In fact, you remember when the game launched, Luke ran the game, and seems like those days are forever ago. So he's got some new toys to play around with. One of them is this stand medium punch. You may recall it has the mostly useless target combo. So we'll see how it plays out in the end, but they added some extra gas to that. So if the beginning of the target combo can hit as a punish counter, and say you use it like as a whiff punish or whatever, right? But as long as you can get it as a punish counter, the launch will change now, and you can do a few things with it. Like say mid-screen, you can get Super 1. That's just more damage you can get before. Or if you get near the corner, you can actually get some uppercuts after the fact. So just more opportunities to get things you couldn't get before. Another one, it's not huge, but it's nice. So stand heavy punch is now -4 on block. Used to be -5. And still punishable point blank. But the difference here is this. Since there's effectively more block stun, even if it is negative, that means something like this in the medium sandblast is now a true block string. So if you block the heavy punch, you have to block medium sandblast. You cannot get out of it. Before, even though it's literally 1 frame, but before there was a 1 frame gap. So they could do things like uppercut, drive impact, like whatever through it, right? Now it's airtight. More stuff. Crouch medium punch has 1 more active frame. So just purely as like a drive rush check button. It's a little bit better in that way. That's nice. Jump medium punch is juggling jump medium punch. Now is 1 frame faster startup. What does that mean? So if you go for light flash knuckle, it can be the perfect version, full charge version, doesn't really matter. But as long as you get it, that means you can now juggle in the corner. So basically it just gives some opportunities you didn't really have before juggle wise. Also, this works on the enhanced version, which is nice because you can do the enhanced version from lights. So now you got a little bit more zazz with like just light hit confirms in the corner if you want to try something a little bit different. Also, since we showed that combo, hey, the uppercuts. No matter which version you're doing here, light, medium, or heavy, they all do 100 damage more. So the move itself still has like the same utility, but just does more damage. That's nice. Is level 2 super. So they added a bit more utility to it on the knockdown. So the knockdown, he is now +4 on the knockdown. He used to be +2 on the knockdown. So say at minimum, you go into the corner, that means now they have to respect, say, a crouch medium punch. Before, they could trade or do something, like they can still do something invincible, but now they don't have to. Also, notice the damage, 3,000. Used to do 2,800. So it also does more damage. So they're trying to give level 2 just kind of more utility than it currently has, with a slightly better knockdown and slightly more damage. So it's basically just good quality of life across the board. Also, Sandblast Light only has one more active frame, and they say it has more range. I'll take their word for it. It's about the same to me, but regardless, like, this is all good quality of life stuff across the board for Luke. I don't know if it's going to put Luke back on the top of the tier list or nothing like that, but it is all nice to have. So Ken, not a lot of changes, but definitely a net buff overall. So 1, just stand medium punch. He just has ever so slightly more momentum off like a drive canceled medium punch. So that's nice, that's something. But here's kind of the real change. This affects the medium punch as well. So crouch medium punch does less damage. Used to do 700, now does 600, but it is also +5 on regular hit now, meaning it naturally links to stand medium punch. Did not before. So something like this is now all one natural combo. Was not before. Also helped by the fact here, it pushes back less on hit, because otherwise the medium punch wouldn't even connect. But yeah, so now you can get some new combo routing going from this. And now here's a fun thing. It's kind of 2 buffs that work together to be one buff. But he has the dash and he's got heavy kick, right? He has step kick from the dash. So these 2 buffs make this a lot better. So 1 buff. So from quick dash, he can enter heavy step kick 2 frames faster than he could before. And then the other buff is the actual attack is also 2 frames faster than it was before. Meaning, from the dash, he can basically enter step kick about 16 frames into the dash here if you look at the frame meter bar, if you do it fast as possible, right? So 16, get the kick. Now if we go to the older build of the game, fastest this will go live is 20 frames in. So overall, basically the whole experience of heavy step kick is now about 4 frames faster. So it just kind of makes that much better. Now there's a price to be paid for that. So the move itself is less positive on hit. It's still positive on hit, but it's only +1 now. But still, basically the move that you're using as a longer range poke, it gets to be, you know, the same long range poke that it always has been, and gets to do it basically 4 frames faster than it did before. So overall, I think that is definitely a win. Because maybe you might lose a counter hit combo, but since it's happening, you know, 4 frames earlier, that means if it hit as a counter hit, you would have just got hit before, right? Because it would have had 4 more frames to happen, whatever the move was. But overall, like, small buffs, but quality enough, like, good buffs for Ken, I think. Moving towards the Jamie. So Jamie got a bunch of interesting buffs. One of them is stand heavy kick. So stand heavy kick, it got a pretty significant range buff of all things. So on the second active frame, not the first one, so not when it hits right away, but on the second active frame, it now has an extended hurt box. So basically, if you're using it as a poke from further away, it can now hit from further away than it could before on that later active frame, giving it effectively just a range buff. So if we go to, say, like the console version of the game, like, it can only hit basically on the first active frame. If it doesn't hit on the first active frame, barring really weird situations, it just will not connect at all, right? And it's always been a solid enough move, but now with that extra just little range, hitting on that second active frame gives it like a 15% range buff, basically. It'll hit in situations that never would hit before, making the move a lot more useful. Now, speaking of a lot more useful, so he has the target combo that has the overhead, and it has like the knockdown associated with it, and you can take a drink afterwards, which is nice. This is now plus on knockdown. So in the older build of the game, when you did this stuff, this was negative on knockdown. Negative. Now it's plus. So you get a little bit of pressure. Say if you did it in the corner, like, you can just keep attacking and like it's still your turn versus you lost your turn for getting the knockdown and the drink. So by itself makes it way more useful in the corner. is something you probably want to think about actually doing now. Speaking of things you might want to actually do now, so his target combo of back heavy punch, heavy kick realistically doesn't see tons of use, but what if I told you it's a wall splat in the corner now? So yes, if you get this anyway, any shape, form, whatever in the corner, it's now a combo extender. Also, as a fun bonus, the second hit is also special cancelable now. So if you want a new route to go into special cancels, that is a very valid one. More fun stuff. Second hit of EX Rekka is now safe on block. It used to be death on block. It was like -12 or something like that. So now, like, you're still negative, sure, but you're not guaranteed punish if you don't want to commit to the whole Rekka string. That's pretty cool. And let's keep the party going. And this is for party starters, heavy and EX palm specifically. It got two things. One, you know the trend in like last few patches where if a move that has like a specific timing hit in later frames, it becomes plus, you get screen shake? Well, it gets that now too. So see, that was negative. But now, +1, I got a little bit of the screen shake. So now for heavy and enhanced version, if he hits and it's plus, you'll get the screen shake effect, which is nice. Also, if you manage to hit the move and it is plus on block, it'll now push the enemy back less than it did before. It actually will barely push them back at all, so you can actually get more use out of those plus frames. So basically, random palm Jamie, which has been like half of all Jamie players from day one, literally just got a buff. So that's pretty big. So overall, that and like easing some combo routes, like his up kick being a little bit easier and like certain combo restrictions, like they're not huge changes, but they're nice, welcome changes for Jamie. Chun Li, some interesting changes. Also, a character that benefits from the modern changes. There's some pretty significant modern changes for some characters. So again, check those patch notes. But one, stance. So stance, this doesn't seem like a lot, but just saves your fingers. So you can cancel stance by hitting up now. Simple as that. So you could cancel stance without doing anything by entering stance again. But there's a bunch of setups with like Oki in the corner where like you'll knock them down or whatever, do stance. And then from there, the idea is this. You do stance, you threaten the overhead. And if you get the overhead, cool, spinning bird, like do something, right? Or you do stance, leave stance immediately, and then go for like crouch-like kicks. Because from that, you can do a bunch of silly Chun Li corner combos, because that's Chun Li, right? So basically just saves your fingers, just hit up instead of having to do the motion again real quick, because you might accidentally get like a wrong input or whatever. It's just nice. It's just quality of life. But now, actually, with that and that overhead, they made one change to the overhead that's fairly significant. Stance overhead is now plus on block. And surely before the patch, it was not plus on block. Now it is plus on block. So you hit buttons, you're going first. So if you do the old stance mix up now, and you know, they block it correctly, still your turn if it's the overhead. So that's really, really interesting, in fact. That's kind of strong. Speaking of kind of strong, so a patch ago, Light has on shoot. They changed it so it just knocks down on hit now, right? So they want to make this kind of like a long-range poke, especially one that can kind of go over lows and all that, right? And that's okay, but it's a little punishable. So now, it's a little less punishable. It's now -4 on block from -5. So as long as you space it, like basically only another Chun Li could punish it, because she has like the longest range 5-frame move in the game, as far as I know. So if you space it, you're rewarded, basically, and it's going to be more difficult to punish. Other stuff like medium Tensho Kick now gains you more drive on hit. Heavy Tensho Kick is now actually throw invulnerable when she leaves the ground, because before she could be thrown out of it. Rare, but it could happen. Medium and enhanced lightning legs both go a little bit further. It's got to be really edge case situations for punish counters, because like you can do something like that in like the rare situations where like you just didn't have the extra frame to get stand heavy punch or something like that, but it's there. Hey, just quick post editing rooflemonger here. So one of the advantages of EX legs going further is it can now combo off of heavy legs, because it just goes just a little bit further, just a little bit faster, so that can connect. So anything that in some way somehow can go into heavy legs can now go into EX legs, so FYI. So not tons of buffs, but it is buffs. So Chun-Li ever slowly climbing upwards, I suppose. Also, it's more edge case, but for the few situations that would matter, Light has Onshu, now an extended juggles, will go back into level 3 again. So she lost that for a patch, and now it's back. So there you go. Kimberly, there's a pretty significant change here. You might notice the spray cans. It says 3 now. Why does it say? It used to say 2, but you better believe she can now store 3 of these bad boys in a row. And consequently, her new cap is 3. So yeah, that's kind of a thing. Also, when you're restocking bombs, you can now restock singletons. It doesn't have to be all of them at the same time. They've changed the input to down kick now. But yeah, so she can have more bombs. More bombs means more threats, means more crazy, means more everything Kimberly does. She's better at it because she can do more of the things she does, basically. So that's really cool. That's really strong. And then there's this. The old teleport. She can now, if you hold the button, do a fake out teleport. She doesn't always have to go to you now. Like, she still can, but if you hold the button, she'll kind of teleport in place. So if you're the kind of player you see teleport and your first response is like reversal, she can now make you whiff that stuff. So her ninja technique is going up. More traps, more tricks, more everything ninja, which I think is actually really, really cool. And then there's other stuff like Hurtbox on stand medium kick has been reduced. So better poke, better counter poke, all that kind of stuff. That's not as cool, but it is important. A few patches ago, her cortical forward light punch, the old chop, right? You can get the hit on the active frame. And now if it does hit on the last active frame, the opponent will be closer. So the idea is they'll no longer be out of range of the stand light kick that you're trying to combo into after the fact. So when you're using it as a poke, this combo will be much more reliable. So all sounds pretty good. There's one catch though. When you get hit with a bomb, the bomb now causes additional scaling. So normally it would be 90% scaling right away. It is now 80%. So everything involving a bomb now will do basically slightly less damage, but you can now have 3. That means you got more potential shenanigans, and more potential shenanigans means more potential damage, right? So I think that's a very fair trade-off in the end. So not huge changes for Kimberly, but definitely very worthy ones. So moving on to Manon. So Manon, one of the things out of the gate, stand medium kick, is no longer negative on hit. Thank God, right? And because it's no longer negative on hit, that means some of the frame data is a little bit different. On counter hit now, specifically, it will combo into light hit grab, which means if you know someone's going to hit button, you stuff them, that means you get a free medal out of it. So that's actually kind of nice. It's not huge, but that is nice. Keeping with not huge, but nice, crouch medium kick is now naturally +4 on hit. So if you do it up close, it will naturally go into crouch light punch, and thus you can combo out from there. Now you ready for the showstopper? Down forward heavy kick now does something. What? So now if it's a punish counter, it will swap sides, and it will create a hit okay tumble. You can do things like combo into a super from, right? Is the move actually good? I don't know. Probably not, but it does something now. Like, debatably the most useless button in the game does something now on punish counter. So that's kind of cool. Other small changes, her command grab now has 1 more active frame. Realistically, I don't know how much that actually means, because if you don't hit on the first active frame, you're probably not hitting the command grab. But there must be like a meaty setup for meaty command grab somewhere I just haven't discovered yet. Now, here's a fun one. EX Jaguar Kick now has use in combos. So specifically, if you can hit someone airborne, it will now ground bounce them. That is huge, because from the ground bounce, you can combo into light hit grab. So it's now another way for you to get your medals up. All you gotta do is gin up some way for this to connect airborne, doesn't matter how it is, and the bounce will always allow for the light hit grab, and this will always get you a medal. So basically go through all your combo routes. If you can sneak this in there, this might become the new optimal in a lot of situations. And actually going for the hit grab So hit grab has 2 more frames of a projectile invulnerability. That's nice. And if you go hit grab and the kick, the big old Swan Lake kick here, it is now, even point blank, safe on block. Now, I don't recommend doing it point blank, but say if you did, it is now always going to be safe on block at -3. So another case of not gigantic changes, but it's all really good quality of life changes for the character. Now, Marisa's got a lot of fun changes, not the least of which she's another character with a lot of great modern changes. So if you enjoy your modern, check out the patch notes. But one out of the gate, medium punch, medium punch. So this is like one of our most integral target combos, right? It now will hit airborne foes. So if they're jumping for whatever reason, both hits will now connect. I'm sure every Marisa player will tell you the horror stories of they caught one hit in the air, the second one whiffs, and everything falls apart really fast from there. But now both will connect. Now they'll flip out after the second hit, so it's not like you're gonna get like the full special or whatever after that. That's not happening, right? But at least you don't just whiff, they land and you get blown up or something like that. So you at least get some damage out of it. More fun stuff. You know she has the target combos, right? So stand heavy punch can be stand heavy punch, heavy punch. So charge stand heavy punch is now +5 on block. Used to be +4. So it's just 1 more frame plus on block, but that's nice. But that makes the follow-up a true block string. That means if you block this, you have to block the second one. There's no way out of it. And the second one, they made more plus on block. So the second one is +4 on block now. So basically, if you're both kind of matching after the fact, she just does like a crouch medium or whatever. She's probably going to beat any button you press. She's not as close if you just let it rock, but she's still close enough. Also, if you block both of these, that's like 1 1/3 drive gauge of damage. So this is also a strict buff to like burn out Marisa. If she's like just looking to burn you out, you block a couple of these, that's half of all your drive meter right there. And speaking of just plus on block here, heavy Spartan kick is now plus on block. Why? Why not? Like actually, why not? Like this move feels like it should have been plus from the start. You know, if like Superman punches plus on block, sure, but like why was this not plus? So yeah, so heavy Sparta kick is now plus on block always, and medium Sparta kick is now safe on block even point blank. Which for those playing along means medium kick is now plus on block if they're in burnout. So fun little trick to know. More fun stuff. Forward heavy kick is now +4 on hit. So by itself, like technically that's a combo starter now because I'm going to your crouch light punch, sure. But on punish counter, that means it's +8. You know what else is +8? Back heavy punch. So this means you now have new punish routes. Like you just do this, you get them, then you know, oh, okay. We're going to the cleaners. We can do new fun things and do a lot of damage to some folks off some very low input combos. Let's put it that way. So new combo routing for Marisa, very welcome change. Considering this move is only -2 on block, this is not a bad move to just randomly fish with now and just see what you get. And more fun stuff for just stuff you're going to be doing anyways. Like if you hit with a regular phalanx punch, right? There was the patch a long time ago where it changed the knockdown and you just like dash forward, do whatever, right? Same idea. That hasn't changed, but now they're just a little bit closer to you. So if you get that punish counter with your Superman punch, you can just be more easily directly on top of them. So Marisa, a character that's kind of consistently buffed every single patch, and it sort of never matters. Will it matter this time? Probably not. But if you enjoy Marisa, take the buffs because these are definitely buffs. Now, Lily. What has Lily got this time around? Lily is the poster girl of buffs that don't actually matter. She actually got a decent buff this time around. Does it matter? Probably not. But, well, let's go over it because she only has 2 changes. First is stand heavy kick. So stand heavy kick, if it hits a punch counter, it always knock back. Now, if it hits as a regular counter hit, it'll knock back so you can like steal a free stock or pressure or whatever. So Doesn't really matter. You're only going to be using crouch heavy punch anyways, but you could pretend you're going to use it. And speaking of crouch heavy punch, actually the other buff has to do with that. So Condor Wind, where you spin around in circles, then you attack, right? And you got the version where you can just build the stock. That version doesn't exist anymore as it existed. So now Quarter Circle Back Light just doesn't attack. So before, Light did not attack. Now it does. And in fact, it attacks at the same speed as the EX version of the move does. It doesn't have the bounce. So like, if you're in the corner, there's no follow-up versus like in the corner, you could get a follow-up, right? But it now has a fast attack. What does that mean? That means off stuff like crouch, heavy punch, forward heavy punch, like basically everything, that means you now have no gap. In the older build of the game, the only way to have a gapless attack was to use the enhanced version. It was as simple as that. If you didn't use the enhanced version, they could mash, uppercut, or drive, like whatever they wanted to, right? Like, get mashed on, dead. Get mashed on, dead, right? Simple as that. Now for crouch heavy punch, forward heavy punch, there's no gaps. So that means, effectively, every time they block a heavy, if you so choose, you can just keep attacking and drain a good chunk of a drive gauge bar, and you're good. Like, it's -8, but with the pushback, it don't really matter realistically. So this is just a buff to block string Lily. That's it. If you want to do the same old version where you attack, or rather you do the wind and you spin around and don't attack, you still can. So now you hold the button and then you hit kick to cancel it. And this is where I'll note this new just regular light attack version does not build a stock. The medium and the heavy ones do, the ones with the gaps. The light one with no gap does not build a stock. You have to hold it and then manually cancel it to build the stock. So this is the same frame data as it was before. Doesn't change. So you're not doing like this, canceling it, and then like, oh, I grabbed you. There's no mix. There's no tricks. Unfortunately, I wish there was. But basically, the sledgehammer tool got more sledgehammer. Now you don't have to burn your drive gauge on an EX just to get a guaranteed block string. You can just kind of do it whenever. So one of the complaints of Lily is she's just crouch heavy punch dispenser. This is a buff to crouch heavy punch dispenser. She's just going to be doing this more and more than she already did, basically. That's it. That's the only buff. They don't like this. They don't want her to be good. They don't want her to be good. It's really that cut and dry. If they're interested at all in making her good, they could have done it a long time ago. Look at someone like Ryu. He got buff after buff after buff after buff till they brute force him to be one of the best characters in the game. And Lily, it's clear they want to keep her the worst character in the game. Simple as that. So JP's technically nerfs, but it's not that bad realistically. Some of it has to do with what we call proximity block. So proximity block is basically how fast a move will force you to block if you're in range. And for him now, before, they would have had to stay there and block. But moves like stand heavy punch, or say the various versions of quarter circle forward punch, they now can walk out of it faster than they could before. So before, basically, if you hit stand heavy punch and it was like active at all, they had to stay in place and block. They could not walk backwards. Now, not the case. Now, they still might be getting hit on block or whatever, but now they get the option to walk out. And the game will not force them to stand block against their will. So that's nice. Other changes, portals. So before, there was like changes where you could like detonate portals off other moves you could not do before. That's nice. So basically, all those same buttons now, you can now also teleport from. You don't just have to do the detonate. So if you have a portal live, medium punch, heavy kick, crouch light kick, and crouch medium kick, you can now just do teleports from. Now, the big nerf is this. So if you EX Amnesia a throw, you are still plus, but you're not +5. So you cannot specifically do the old back throw. And then like you could back throw them, it would detonate, and you just get a whole corner combo for free if you caught a throw, right? So it's not to say you don't get a combo, because you can still combo. And you can see here, you know, it's a lot more than any old dragon punch is going to give you. And I've already seen on social media versions that put you back in the corner anyways. So I don't know how much of an effective nerf it's going to be, but there is that. And there is the fact that it's only +4. You can get the jab punish and the extended combo if it hits on the first active frame of the throw. So setups like a throw loop for certain characters that hit on the later active frames, you won't necessarily get a guaranteed jab punish and then a combo from there. So it is certainly an overall nerf to some throws. But yeah, JP can still get more damage off reversal than basically any character in the game. So toned down, maybe nerfed. I don't know about that. So Juri got a nerf and then a bunch of interesting changes. The nerf is just crouch medium punch. So a while back, they buffed the hitbox on crouch medium punch, and they buffed it a little too much. It became a dominant anti-air, and they did change it so the hitbox is still the same versus aerial opponents, but it also became like a very dominant anti-drive rush button or just poke in general, right? So basically the nerf is the hitbox is the same versus aerial opponents, but it is reduced against everything else effectively. Now, let's talk the buffs. So some small stuff here, like crouch light punch, now pushes back less on hit or on block. That's a nice enough change, but now let's talk a really big change. So back heavy kick is now +1 more on hit. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but it allows something new. So before, you know, you can cancel in the various special moves, do whatever. Because this 1 more frame advantage on hit, you can actually cancel into Enkansatsu, which is basically the flippy kick. And this is now a natural combo. And even without the buff, that will always combo in the stand light kick. Which means you have new combo routing. That makes back heavy kick way more valuable as a hit confirm. Like say in the corner. Now with this buff and some other buffs from previous patches, you can put it together. And all of a sudden, oh, that all works together. Okay. So new combo routing. Speaking of new combo routing, stand heavy kick, the punish counter. So it still launches like it did before, but now it launches nowhere near as far away. They're quite a bit closer. Because before, you really couldn't do too much. Like, if you got it in like near max range, you could do super maybe. That's about it if you had it and you're on the ball. Now, you can drive rush and pick them up off before they hit the ground. So now at like even maximum ranges, your damage potential is going up on something you really never got damage off of before. It's already an incredibly long range, great counter poking tool. So now you can just do more with it with a simple drive rush, jab into whatever. Also a nice small change here, but just medium kick. So medium kick technically is 2-hitting move. Now, if you just hit with the far end of it, it will now actually do full damage. So before, if you just hit with the far end of the move, it would just do only the second part of the move's damage. Now it does the full damage if you just hit with the kick, which is nice. Like, I don't know if you want to make this your main poke or nothing, but now it sort of works as a poke because it actually will do its damage. So for a character that rarely gets anything, it's not big stuff, but it is nice. Moving on to Dee Jay. So Dee Jay's got a fun change, and pretty much all of his lights, standing or crouching, have less pushback on hit or on block. So ideally, hopefully, more situations for tick throws, pressure, that kind of stuff. But let's start with a real fun change. Forward medium kick. So forward medium kick's really good because it is plus on block. And if you see it connects, it's +5. So you can just get a quick hit confirm off of it. But they changed it how it works in the air. So if it hits people in the air, and it's gonna hit people in the air sometimes, instead of just splatting them, it's now actually a bounce. Which means if you're on the ball, you can do things like get a super afterwards. Or maybe EX up kicks. Admittedly, timing's a little strict, but you can do it in reaction if possible, Or if it's like even it's like right away, you can just cancel the base hit into the move if you have charge or just a super. And it just basically gives you an option you never really had on the plate before. So it makes a move that was already really good better in the one situation it was kind of bad. Now, how about this? So we all know this. DJ and the fake up kick, where you can do fake up kicks, which is just specifically just charge down, up, and light kick. So he'll attack without just doing the up kicks. And then, oh, haha, gotcha, cross up, right? But how about this? Same side. Wait, what? So that is now how this works. If you hold back while doing the fake up kick, you will now not move as far forward. Meaning, in situations like that, you will now stay same side, or you can just let it rock and be a cross up. And now it's basically a mix up. And you didn't have that before. It's not the best mix up in the world or nothing, but for people who are unprepared for it, given this is an all new trait in a game that's years old now, you can definitely get away with murder. More fun stuff here. EX quarter forward is now 2 frames faster startup. So if you're just looking to like surprise people out of the blue with it, 2 frames faster startup makes it 2 frames more likely. And another really interesting move here, EX machine gun upper, now leaves them closer to you and is now plus 52 on hit. Used to be plus 23. And you can action out of the animation a lot quicker here. So basically, you can just be on top of them right away, making this a much more attractive option to like end your combos with, because now you get real pressure after the fact. Because they're closer, you can keep dashing and still have monster advantage frames on their wake up. So now, maybe rethink some of your combos. If you can end with machine gun upper, the enhanced version, maybe that's now the way to go. So not huge changes for DJ, but for a character that's consistently always had a lot to work with, this even getting more yet is really, really nice. Now Cammy. Cammy decided to up the bulldog factor for some reason. So back medium punch is now plus on block. Definitely was not plus on block before, but if you decided she needed more on-demand plus frames, well, this is literally that. So now, since it's plus, that means stand jab is naturally a frame trap. And if it hits, well, stand jab is also naturally a combo. So it sort of works out either way. So spin knuckle, enhanced spin knuckle, is now plus 3 on block. This used to be -2, so that's a pretty big get. Now, if it switches sides, FYI, it's still -2. That has not changed. But now, if you're just looking for the brute force here, it is plus 3 on block. Keep in mind, Heavy Knuckle is also plus 3 on block. That's still the same as been. But EX Knuckle is a good deal faster startup. So that just means you get those plus frames all the faster yet. Also for Cammy, just again, quality of life here. All the moves that are heavies for like, spiral, arrow, uppercut, all that, they're all holdable, right? And before there used to be a sweet spot to get like the move with the fastest possible timing. They just removed it. So now anything that where you could hold heavy will now give you the sweet spot timing immediately. So you don't have to time it anymore. That means you just always get the best version of the move. That entire element of the character is now gone. It's just easier, better. That back medium punch plus on block change actually has a lot more ramifications than you might think. Because like, one, that means on drive rush is plus 5 on block. And just common knockdown situations like light in the medium spiral. Sure, that's normal, right? Dash forward and go for it. And now it's plus 8 if it hits deep, which technically existed before because that's on hit, but that naturally combos into stand heavy punch. But same scenario now on block means she's plus 5 on block. And on wake up, plus 5 is a pretty scary number to be, especially against someone like Cammy, right? So they just made Cammy more straightforward, more bulldog. And for a Cammy fan, I gotta assume you're over the moon. So Honda, we wouldn't have Honda patch without a nerf, right? So he got a nerf. Stand medium punch now has more recovery frames. Has 17 frames of recovery, used to be 15, so 2 more. And the hurt box is expanded, meaning it's easier to whiff punish. Now, after that though, admittedly it is all buffs for the boy. Some of them are interesting, like forward heavy kick is a very interesting change. So punish counter, on punish counter, it knocks you back, and that's unchanged. But the kind of knockback is different, and it's a bit longer than it used to be. So like if you still want to use it, get like a free buff, you can. Like that's still on the table. But now you have enough time to charge medium headbutt, still be advantage, dash, and still be plus in their face on wake up. So if you counter poke them with like forward heavy kick, which is very like it's very realistic to do. It's a very long range move. It's pretty fast for what it is. Like it's a very solid move. And now every time you just get it, cool. You can just dash in and just be on top of them on their wake up for free with plus frames and go for whatever you're gonna go for. So basically the situations where this is like useful is now all the more useful yet. So that's a nice quality of life change. Also a nice quality of life is crouch heavy punch is now super cancelable. It's still not special cancelable unless you have the buff. If you have the buff, you got the buff. That's great. But you need the buff to do that, right? But now just by itself, no other gimmicks, it is super cancelable. So that is cool too. So it's not going to happen a lot, but the option is now there. Now, the next change has to do with the sumo stance. So he actually exits it if you don't do anything quite a lot faster. So here we are before the patch, right? And if we do it without doing anything else, it takes 51 frames to recover. And if we do our attack out of it, fastest possible timing, it'll take 22 frames in the stance before the first attack can connect. And now if we go and switch our builds here, ooh, I like that transition. That worked out great, actually. You notice here, 44 frames. So it's a lot faster to go from like nothing and just complete. And if we do stance and attack right away, we attack 1 frame quicker. And now let's put another buff on the table here. Heavy kick. So close heavy kick, the first hit only, is now -9 from -11. Which doesn't mean a lot because like the second hit would almost always connect, right? But now we do this with our new buff timings. And that means stance into slaps leaves a tiny little opening. Just enough where if someone's mashing buttons, they'll get hit. And now since sumo stance ends a lot quicker, like say they're passive and like don't challenge it, right? That means that just that into grab or whatever else you're going to do is now more real. There's still a little bit of time, but you could potentially trick people, especially because you don't have to go into slap right away. You can kind of let it rock for a little bit. You can go into it right away, and that is a frame trap, but you don't have to. And then keep in mind the change from like season 2, I believe, when enhanced hits for stance slaps. Then that leaves you +5, and that means since that's a frame trap by itself, you can get a combo from that, right? So basically, it gives you more offense, gives you more gimmicks, gives you more just stuff to work with. And at minimum, just stance in the slaps is better as an approach because it comes out 1 frame faster. And that 1 frame can be the difference between catching somebody and not catching somebody. So it makes it much more useful in that way. Doesn't have that same startup headbutt does. It's a little bit quicker. So they're just trying more and more to make you want to use this as your replacement for headbutt in neutral. And another thing too, when I talk about using this as a replacement headbutt, right? They also buff the range it moves forward at. So round start, and I'll move just a little bit backwards. And notice that even though I move just a little bit backwards, even from round start, that's a very far distance, I still connect. If we switch builds, and man, that's so smooth. Look how smooth that is. If we switch builds here, round start, move just a little bit backwards, I will whiff that first hit. Like it still has good range, but I will whiff from that far away, right? And if I switch back, man, that's smooth. And notice I connect from that far away. So they want you, they patch after patch after patch after patch. They want you to basically replace headbutt in neutral with stance hands. And making it connect from further away faster is basically like, please do it, please do it, please do it. Especially because it's -3 on block with pushback, which gives you basically the old headbutt situation. You know, because Before, they would be out of jab range, and then, you know, are you going to hit a button? Maybe I'll hit heavy punch, or maybe I'll try to shimmy you. Like, those situations exist here with this. And now it's just a little better yet again, year after year, patch after patch. So, is this the breaking point where it actually works? I don't know. We'll see. But they're trying. They're still trying. So, we'll see how it works. So, between stance slaps just being better and better and better yet, and forward heavy kick punch counter giving like real appreciable neutral, because depending on how fast you are, you can get like +2 to +4. And then, you know, like, you're going to worry about getting wake up into grab. Maybe, like, you might wake up into grab. Who knows, right? So, neutral Honda's doing a bit better, but it'll take time to see if the scales really turn in time to see how the old boy's doing. Guile, not a lot of changes, but one I find very interesting, which I'll save till the end just because, well, showmanship purposes. I don't know. But hey, let's start with a really brute force easy one. Stand heavy kick is 12 frames now. So it used to be 13 frames. It's now 12 frames. So it makes your very, very long range abusive poke faster and better. Sure. Also, because it's a frame faster, that means on counter hit or better, it'll combo from a drive rush crouch medium punch, which just gives it a lot of utility. It also means it's easier to combo into for certain sonic boom loops. So there's stuff to be done with this. Now some nerfs. So the old crouch medium kick into forward medium punch the overhead, right? On counter hit, that was changed a while back to bounce people, and that was great. But now the bounce is not quite as good. So if you want to flash kick right afterwards, you got to change your flash kick. So you still get to do it. It just has to be the light kick version now, not the heavy kick version. So basically, you're just doing a little bit less damage. They changed the light kick version too to make it easier to combo into in this situation. But yeah. So basically, do the light kick version now instead of the heavy kick version. Another fun one, EX Sonic Blade is now plus on block, which is a nice change from punishable on block, which it was before. So if you need a quick and dirty plus frame, you now have quick and dirty plus frames on demand +1 on block. But now here's the fun one. So something like that buff stand heavy kick. It's super cancelable. You can go into a super. But you know what can also go into supers now? Other supers. So heavy hurricane with the different angle. If you do light or medium sonic hurricane afterwards, they have changed how the juggle properties of it works. And they can now naturally combo off of heavy hurricane, which is very interesting. So if you got that extra meter just to close out a round, now you got other options to work with. So cool on Guile. Zangief, not much, just one is sort of ironic. So stomp, down, down, medium kick. That guy right here, right? So you could always like special cancel the second hit. Now you can special cancel the first hit. And since it's special cancelable, it means it's drive rush cancelable naturally. So that means he has a low hitting medium that's drive rush cancelable. So crouch medium into drive rush, anybody? You can technically do it now. Sort of, if you want to stretch the definition. So that's something. Also, lots of changes just how lariats interact with crouchers. Basically, across the board, it's just easier for a lariat to hit a croucher. Also, atomic suplex. So that's running bear grab when you're close. And then the move changes to the atomic suplex. So they changed it so you can do atomic suplex on its own now. So it's half circle back motion and just hit heavy kick. So if you do light or if you do the medium, you'll do running bear grab. And if you're close, you'll still do the atomic suplex. But now heavy only does the atomic suplex. So if you're like at a range where you're not exactly sure if it's going to connect, or if you just might get running bear grab instead, now you have an option to just do the one you want. Although they nerfed the damage a little bit just to give you an option you always want. So it does 2600 now if you do specifically the atomic suplex, versus 2900 if you just kind of do the proximity version. But still, more options, more better. It's not like the other ones went away. So if you just want to use the normal one, you can get more damage, sure. But if you're not sure on your range, now you can choose every time. Dhalsim is a character. Many characters have modern control changes. him a lot more than most, so check the patch notes. Besides that, there's only really two things. Stand Light Punch has a slightly better anti-air hitbox. Not that it's meant to be an anti-air, like he's got a million other options for that. But just on moves like, say, Dragon Lash, they just change it so it's just easier for him to hit people just slightly above him fast. So this kind of becomes like the anti-Dragon Lash option if you know it's coming. And then just go from there. The big change is he can now have a regular Yoga Fireball and a Yoga Arch on screen at the same time if one of them is EX. So now, if I have an EX Fireball, I can also have a Yoga Arch on screen at the same time, which means I control a lot of angles of the screen. Now keep in mind, you could always have a Yoga Comet on screen as well, but that has longer startup, the angles aren't as aggressive. This is a lot more aggressive, and the flip is true. Now this is even better. So I can have EX Yoga Arch on screen and a Yoga Flame, a Yoga Fireball on screen at the same time. So that means I can keep the party going quite a bit when it comes to zoning. This is a substantive buff to his zoning. And this does mean you can have 3 fireballs on screen at the same time. Because, again, Yoga Comet, right? So, Arch, Light Fireball, Comet. 3 fireballs on screen at the same time. That's going to be annoying some people. So his zoning game got quite a bit better, basically. That's really the only change that's like really balance affecting. But I think that's a pretty okay one in my books. Dhalsim always gets something really nice every patch, and this is another one you're going to throw on the pile. Rashid, not much, but what he got is pretty okay. 1 Crouch Heavy Punch, a long range poke. So 2 factors. 1, it now triggers Proximity Block. We talked about Proximity Block. There's a lot of changes about that this patch. It now triggers it much earlier than it did before. So meaning, basically, it's much more difficult to near on impossible to walk out of it now if it's able to hit it all. If you are in range to be hit by it to begin with, basically, when you're walking, you're going to force to be stopped dead in your tracks, and you're going to be forced to block it. Meaning, if you whiff it, you whiffed it. They didn't walk out of it, because now, with the procs block changes, they are forced to block it, basically. That said, also, when it comes to block, so the move is now -4 on block. It used to be -6. So at the ranges you should be using it at, it is now pretty much always going to be safe on block. Another change here, forward heavy kick. This is the one that can crush lows. So this is now +3 on hit, which means if you aim it, hitting it later in the active frames, like say here, it's now easier to say combo into a stand jab. So you don't got to be as scientific with it, just because it's more plus, that means you can be a little more sloppy. As long as it's just not on the first active frame, that means you can just go into light and the mixer into whatever you want. So it just makes that kind of stuff easier to work with. Speaking of mixer, medium mixer has more anti-air frames. Rashid and anti-airs has always been a thing, and they keep addressing it. One day it'll work. So it is now anti-air invulnerable from frames 3 through 17, which is up from frames 3 through 11. And we got another proximity block change. This is with cortical back punch. And basically, same deal. If you are in range to be hit by it at all, then it will force the proximity block. This one's a little less strict, but the idea is they want you to hit with it meaty, with basically the tornado active frames, and force them to block tornado active frames later in the move. And if you do, you can have turbo plus frames, like right there, that's plus 21. So basically, if they are able to block the later active frames, the proximity block will force them to do it. They will not be allowed to walk away out of the move. If you have it timed correctly, spaced correctly, proximity block will basically jail them in place. So not so fun for them, but better for you so they can't walk out of it, helping your pressure. So basically Rashid's taking away people's options to walk out of his stuff, and that's the big buffs he's getting. Now, Aki, I enjoy your changes a lot because there's more ways to poison you outside of the usual. So one of them is her sweep, which is a punch attack. But if you hit with a punish counter sweep, it poisons you. So She doesn't get much reward off a sweep, but now, if she does get you with a sweep, and it's a punish counter, like a punish in whatever situation, because it is a fairly fast, long-range startup move, now you're poisoned when you wake up, so now the situation you're in is much deadlier. That's nice. Also, opponent is set to block everything, so normally, the only way I should be able to poison them is with the puddle. Puddle has a problem, though. If I do this in your face, I'm dead. Like, it takes way too long to just do it in front of somebody, right? But now we got this. So EX Poison Breath, the follow-up, now poisons you on block. So just do EX Fireball, hit forward heavy, and that follow-up, even if you block it, will poison you now. So it's another way to trick people into getting poisoned. I think that's really cool. Now it's only on block. If you parry it, it will not trigger it on parry. But still, now, okay, if I know you're just going to be defensive, I just want to make sure you're poisoned, for the cost of some drive gauge, I can force you to be poisoned now, which I think is really, really, really cool. And we got some more fun stuff. Forward Heavy Punch. Forward Heavy Punch now has one more active frame, so it's out there for just a little bit longer, making it just a little bit better as a poke. Also, if you're bad at spacing, the move is now safe on block, even literally point blank. So before it was -4 on block, point blank, and now it's -3 on block, point blank. So you're always good to go. Her target combo, Heavy Punch, Heavy Punch. So if the opponent is not already poisoned, so the move is the one that poisons you, they change the knockdown. So the knockdown is now 44 frames of knockdown. It's actually quite a bit longer than it used to be, because it used to be 34. So it's 10 more frames of advantage on the knockdown. Also, it leaves you a decent amount closer than it did before. So basically, you can just like double dash, pressure them, have a good amount of frame advantage in their face. Where before, if this happened and you double dashed, you would be negative. Now you're good. And then Light Cruel Fate. So they change it so it's now +2 on hit. Which means if it's a counter hit, like, you know, you got them to like cut them hitting buttons or whatever, right? It is now +4 on counter hit, meaning combo time. So just giving a little bit more utility to the light version of the move, which didn't have as much utility. So not like world-changing changes, but I just like on punish counter, there's another way to poison somebody. And on block, there's also another way to poison somebody, right? Setting up poison's the name of the game, and now she's got more ways to do it. Okay, Ed, it's not a good day to be a sensitive German boy, because he's got some nerfs on him. Nerf number 1, his back throw is now a good deal less advantageous. So if you back throw him and you dash right away, you better believe you ain't plus anymore. So you can't just back throw him and turn the tables immediately like you used to. And now let's rip off the band-aid here. Charge Flicker. You know, you bring him in, it don't bring you in that much further anymore. Here we are in the older build of the game. Same deal here. And whoa, wait a second. Isn't that a lot closer? Yeah. That's actually quite a bit now closer, isn't it? Because in the older build of the game, you know, from round start, you're in throw range, right? And now, can I throw you? Nope, nope, nope. So suffice it to say, the distance that you are brought in on the snatcher is gigantically different. He's still pulls you in against your will, but like you can just say, no, I'm just gonna walk out. Like, I'm not participating. For it to actually work, you actually got to be a good deal closer now. And even then, still no guaranteed throw range. Maybe buttons. You know, you still got to respect the fact that I got buttons to work with, right? But like, no guarantees now. So that's a big hit to the move. Now, of course, there's some compensatory buffs. Like, they say the 3x light kick target combo leaves them closer. For my money, it's like exactly the same. Like, I can switch builds on the fly, yo, and even at max range, he's still in throw range, right? So, like, I don't know what that buff's supposed to be, but apparently you're closer, allegedly. More nerfs. We all know this bad boy. So now EX Psycho Blitz now causes advanced scaling. So now before it was just normal scaling. Now if this starts something, it starts at 70% scaling. So big time nerf to whatever combos are coming after the fact. Now it's not all doom and gloom. We have EX Fireball. So EX Fireball, the slow projectile is now a lot slower, and the fast projectile is actually a good deal faster. So just like when it comes to, like, you know, Fireball 101, the Fireball 101 aspect of the character when it comes to the enhanced Fireball it's better. Like, yo, that is a slow fire. I can almost get out in front of it, like with my dashes, right? Like, that's a slow Fireball. And the fast one, well, that's like Guile. That's like EX Sonic Boom fast. So that's nice. Now, does it make up for the other stuff? That's for you to decide. I would err. Most people would probably think not. But you know what? A lot of people are very sick of Ed being just one of the strongest characters in the game. So like, let's do something about it. Versus Ryu, who got buffed. Is that fair? Well, should have been around in 1991, Ed. That's all I can say. Old Akuma. So not a lot, but I think he's got one that's really interesting. But let's start with the one that I like the most. His Aboro throw, the command grab off the teleport, actually got faster. So now, it's not a lot, right? But it's in 29 frame startup. Used to be 31. And that's fast enough. Like, it's certainly reactable. I'm not going to say it's not reactable. It is. But on a move that can just fast enough to catch people sleeping, just shedding a couple frames off it, it means it's going to catch you sleeping just all the more yet. Because keep in mind, too, the move's got some pretty okay range to it, right? Like, it can hit you from further away than otherwise you might think sometimes. So just a couple frames shaved off. People still at the highest levels of play get hit by running bear grab all the time, right? So this is faster. So just keep in mind, it'll catch you sleeping. Now, one buff that'll sort of lead into the bigger buff. So forward heavy punch on punish counter now leaves the opponent closer if it connects on punish counter. So it's not going to be one-to-one perfect at every range, but it usually will mean, at minimum, he should always be able to connect crouch medium kick. And that's great because he's got one little change here. So, EX Tatsu now hits crouching opponents. It won't hit him frame one, he'll lose one of the kicks. But something like this, say like, you know, it's like a Juri spamming crouch medium kick or whatever, right? And you go to punish counter, and like, well, what do I get? Because, you know, you're crouching, EX Tatsu's off the table, and now it's universal on everyone. It always will work, crouching or not. Which means not everything has to be a drive rush follow-up, basically. So if you want to be a bit more economical on the bar, because it'll always work now, you can. So we'll see the long-term ramifications of it, but I actually think that's not a bad buff at all. I think that's pretty okay, actually. Ain't the glory days of old Lava Fist working off crouch medium kick or anything, right? But it's something. It is something. Another silly change is, so last patch, they changed it. So EX Charge Fireball became plus 20 on block. And now, it's plus 21. Why? Because what do you do with plus 20 is 2 plus to B. What do you even do with that? So now, you're plus 21, and he has a 19 frame dash, right? So you're plus 21, and then you dash so you can be plus 2. So you're purposely losing 19 frames of plus, because you can't do anything with 19 frames of plus. But plus 2 is exactly fast enough for throw to beat mash jab. So they're like, you know what, you're so plus, you're 2 plus, let's get rid of it and let's make something useful out of it, basically. So the one extra frame makes the old throw, strike, guessing game just all the better yet. So he certainly isn't as strong as like launch version of Akuma, but I think the EX Tatsu change just being universal now, I think that is really nice, and it makes him less reliant on drive rush, and thus just kind of more bar efficient. Okay, Bison buffs. Oh, yeah, Bison buffs. We got those. So how about this? Stand Heavy Punch is now plus 5 on hit from plus 4, meaning you can now link Stand Jab versus Crouch Jab. The difference here is Crouch Jab has just a little bit less range than Stand Jab. That means you don't have to space this as well if you're looking for a follow-up. So basically on regular hit, your effective combo OK range is extended a little bit. More buffs? Okay. You know, plant mine, and the mine's going to happen, and people are going to block the mine a lot of the time. Sure. So now, specifically, if you detonate mine with another back fist, or Devil's Reverse, the actual detonation does more drive gauge damage than it did before. So it now does 5,000 units of drive gauge, which is basically about half a bar, versus 3,000 units of drive gauge before. So the whole burn them out with a Psycho Mind Pressure, literally better than it was. Speaking of detonations, so if you have a detonation with EX Back Fist, it'll now do 100 more damage than it did before, and it will also, on EX Back Fist, launch higher than it did before. This means mid-screen, no corner needed. As long as you combo an EX Back Fist, you can now combo into Heavy Back Fist and reapply the mine. Or if you're looking to cash out, you can go in EX Scissors mid-screen as well and get more juggle potential. So whichever way you want to go, you're dumping a good amount of drive gauge that way. But basically looking to make EX Back Fist a more attractive option to detonate the mine if it's live, because you'll get new juggle routes. And just because apparently he needed it, EX Rise. So that's before you do Stomp or Devil's Reverse. So EX Rise now tracks the opponent faster than it did before. So if you just desperately need to get in just a little bit quicker, that's one way to do it. So Bison buffs, he's not top tier anymore, I guess. So I guess it's inevitable, but hey, there you go. Okay, so for Terry, we got a nerf and a bunch of buffs. So Stand Medium Punch. A little bit dominant of a button. So they basically made the tail end of the move easier to whiff punish by extending its hurt box forward. They didn't make it any slower, though. It's still not even 17 frames, so good luck punishing it, even with the extended hurt box. But technically, in theory, it's easier to punish. So, like many other characters, there's a proximity block change. So for Terry, it's with Round Wave. Quarter forward heavy punch, the plus on block version of his projectile. So now earlier on, although not exactly frame 1, it will force them to stop and proximity block. And keep in mind, it's a low, right? So if they proximity block by holding back, that means they will get caught by the low, versus before they could just easily walk out of it entirely. So now, since it forces them to block against their will, that makes it more valuable because, well, you might sneak in a low you didn't deserve because they're trying to just back out, right? So making it just more useful as a neutral tool, basically. And what about old Power Dunk? So Power Dunk has the sweet spot. And you'll know you hit the sweet spot if the screen shakes. So if you got the sweet spot, it does more damage. And the thing about the sweet spot is they just made it just a little bit easier to hit. They basically extended the timing of the sweet spot by 1 frame. So you have just a little bit more leeway when you're going for it and to get that extra damage. And also they unified the knockdown on it, just basically making it easy to work. And another buff, Quick Burn. So Quick Burn, light Quick Burn here, Cortical Back Light Punch. So this now is 1 more advantage frame on hit, making it +3 on hit. So just easier to, like, you know, threaten, throw, shimmy, all that kind of stuff. G- move is really good. It's just like a surprise overhead as well, because the second hit is an overhead. And now it's just a bit more advantage. Nice. Speaking of more advantage, the enhanced version. So the enhanced version leaves them closer to you. So if you want to use it, you can easily dash and then threaten, like just like shimmy, throw, strike, oki, all that kind of stuff, because they're closer to you now. And even if they back roll mid-screen, they kind of got to participate in the mix now. And the actual move itself does 200 more damage. So just more useful all around. So like many characters, it's not the world, but it is nice little quality of life buffs. Okay, Mai. So they finally nerf Mai, yes and no. So the one concrete nerf is Yo. Kagero no Mai, the super, she's sort of like Dee Jay now. It is no longer invincible on startup against grounded attacks. So like Dee Jay, who doesn't have like an invincible level 1, she basically doesn't have an invincible level 1 now. She still has invincible dragon punch, sure, but not invincible level 1, meaning burnout's a lot more deadly. Now, it's still invincible versus jump attacks, specifically. So it's coated with anti-air invulnerability. So it's still useful in that way. But as like a get off me on wake up, considering it gives her the buff and like all the benefits from it, no longer. It still has the buff, still has all that other stuff, but it's no longer a reversal on top of everything else it gives. On that note, they changed how EX for Yuenbu works. So you may notice this. That don't combo mid-screen no more. They figured that was a bit too strong, too easy for her to combo into it, so that's gone. Now, there's a lot of other things in its place, though. For one, it's completely safe on block now. It was death on block before. 2, it combos from like fast long range medium pokes. Definitely did not do that before. If you happen to have the buff live, it actually gets scarier because now it wall splats in the corner. So that means like off say random poke, you can get a wall splat and you can get even more damage yet. So there's gonna be new routings, all that I'm sure, but yeah. So they basically retooled the move, so it's not just the easiest launcher in the world into level 1, but they gave it more use and just things to work with besides that. So other nerfs. Stand medium punch now has additional recovery. It's now 17 frames of recovery up from 15. They figured it was a little too dominant as a poke. Now they're buff. So jump medium punch now leaves them closer to you, making stuff like going to Musasabi no Mai just more reliable in just any given situation. Now other buffs. So the level 2, the deadly Super Ninja Bees. They changed it, the damage redistribution. And also, they gave it a damage bonus if it hits as a punish counter or a counter hit to make it more better for use case of like me going through your projectile. So say I like catch you and I do the air quick version, right? Like, okay, we get whatever amount of damage. And then we're going to throw a fireball. Now, ooh, okay, it's a pretty spicy damage buff, right? So she's now more incentivized to use her level 2 in gotcha situations, basically, to get the extra damage from punish counters or counter hits. And like many characters, she has a proximity block change. So now, crouch heavy punch will trigger proximity block basically instantaneously. If it can hit at all, like even on the second hit, like if you're in range at all, your ability to walk backwards is just taken away from you. You had to have completely missed for it not to trigger the proximity block now. And thus, it becomes more useful and neutral because if you space it correctly, it's basically always going to connect one way or another. If the move does connect, you can always get like a crouch jab or something like that, so it's something. But basically, it's another way to approach for a move that doesn't have much use. So is Mai nerfed? Yes. Is it the end of the road for her? Of course not. She's still going to be one of the better characters in the game. I'm sure people will use tons of hyperbole. The nerf to level 1 super certainly sucks. But with the whole toolkit she has, like, she still has it. So, like, she just has to play like Dee Jay. She has to have to play like with a level 1 defensive crutch. And Dee Jay does okay for himself, so she'll do okay. Now for Elena, one big change here is crouch medium kick. So crouch medium kick is now safe on block. So before it was -4, it was punishable on block. And now it's -3. You're going to lose your turn, but as one of her better kind of hit confirm normals, because you can just do it and then like, oh, it hit. Because yeah, it just has the kind of animation where it's really easy to tell if it hit or not. And then you can kind of just go and like crouch light punch and then go from combo from there, right? That's just nice. So it just makes it more reliable and safer to do. They made a nice change to her anti-air game. So crouch heavy kick has 2 hitting moves, right? The first hit and the second hit. And if it hits his counter hit on the second hit, specifically, it will put him in a juggle okay state, meaning you can get combos afterwards. So basically, like if you're on the ball with preventative anti-air, if you can specifically hit with the second hit of the kicks, then you get nice anti-air damage. Okay. That's better than just, you know, doing DP. It's a called shot, so you get more damage for it. Some other things here. EX spin now completes in less time. So it used to be 34 frames from start to finish. It is now 29 frames. So if you're going for like the no mix of just do this in the throw, it now comes out a few frames faster. Spin forward medium kick is now better as an anti-air. So it has 2 more frames of anti-air invulnerability. So again, if you're in the called shot business, it just makes it that much better as an anti-air. EX spinning scythe now has a new hitbox for combos only, just to make sure it drops less. Also, it's the same here, your level 2 and level 3 supers also have new combo only hitboxes, just to make sure they drop less. So stability is the name of the game. So not lots of changes, but again, like so much of the rest of the cast, just nice quality of life. Okay, Sagat, stand medium punch, finally brought down. You know, it's been running the game, right? No, it didn't touch it. Working as intended. Thank you very much. +2 is your favorite number. Enjoy it, because it's going to be around for a good while to come. So what did change? I don't know. How about a buff? So stand light kick is now 0 on hit. Meaning, on punish counter, like specifically if, you know, he whiff punishes you with this move, it'll now go into medium Tiger Nexus. So that means you can just get those follow-ups. Their logic was, He can go into heavy tiger uppercut, sure, but what if they block it? Like, he might get punished. We don't want that. So instead, you can safely combo into an option that if you get blocked, you have a way out. I love the balance design of this game. We got more proximity block changes, although this one is a nerf. So specifically crouching medium kick. The proximity block triggers much later now. So they can theoretically walk out of range of it now. It's not perfect. And right there, it triggered at the very end, and therefore they got caught. But now, potentially walking out of this is okay. Don't worry, though. Forward light kick, completely unchanged. It'll freeze you into block stun from like 10 miles away. And you have no choice other than to deal with it. Which I just find hilarious that it forces you in the block stun from so far away. But anyways, crouch medium kick does not have as strict proximity block anymore. Also, the hurt box on whiff has been expanded, therefore making it more easy to punish if it does whiff. And has a bit more pushback on block on top of that. So they took the hammer to this move. Now another move. Crouch medium punch. Not stand. That's fine. Working as a... But crouch medium punch. Now has some additional combo scaling added to it. They felt this was like just too easy to get the world off of. So they'll still give you the world, but it'll just hurt just a little bit less when you do get it. So some additional combo scaling off crouch medium punch. That said, though, the two target combos off crouch medium punch both do more damage, 100 more damage each. So if you want to use a target combo, then you're okay because you're doing more damage because it's not just being special canceled into whatever else. Also, enhanced Tiger Nexus. Their logic was there's very little reason to go for anything other than the forward heavy kick follow-up, which is fair because, you know, it's plus on block and launches, right? So specifically, forward light kick, the overhead. One big change is it's now safe on block. So if you want to go for this option, it's safe on block. So if it gets blocked, whatever, you're still good. Also, if people mash after the fact, it now bounces on the hit, on the counter hit specifically, letting you get some follow-ups. Before it would just splat. So basically, it gives a lot more value to the move because it's safer on block. It is safe on block now, let alone safer. And if it does catch someone matching, which is sort of the intended idea, then it'll bounce and it'll give you a bit more damage. So basically, it's not always about just forward heavy kick follow-up. And that's about it. I bet you thought there'd be more changes, and no, that's it for now. We'll check you same patch time, same patch channel in the future, and we'll see what happens with stand medium punch. But for now, it's golden. Now, Viper, some changes here, interesting changes. One, stand medium kick is now +5 on hit. So if you're boring, like me, that means it combos into stand light kick. But if you're a bit more adventurous, that means on super jump cancel, it now combos into focus force. So it gives you some more options you did not have before. Some other things for sweep. Now can juggle. So if you do say raw Seismo, no follow-ups, you can now juggle with a sweep. That's nice. And actually, speaking of Seismo, so enhanced Seismo is now -6 on block. Used to be -8. So safer, but one of those things where the numbers change on block, certain values change, right? So now if I use this, and now I know it's -6, and I say super jump cancel into something else, that means point blank EX Seismo, instead of being -6, becomes +1 on block, thanks to super jump canceling my heavy knuckle feint. And because, you know, Viper's just that kind of character, right? So that means she can have on-demand plus frames. This is something, you know, they've been changing a bit here, like stand heavy punch, they changed last patch. If you super jump cancel it into the feint, that becomes plus on block, right? So now, like, it takes some manual dexterity, but now more on-demand plus frames for Viper, which I think is pretty cool. Adds to like the technical aspect of the character. So not too much besides that, but Viper is Viper, right? So if you like the tricky stuff, she's got more tricky stuff. Moving on to Alex, great quality of life change. It's not a fun buff, but his backdash is now 2 frames faster. So there's a lot of like okie, like, you know, like throw loop setups where if you backdash, if you have a slower backdash like you used to, you couldn't get a punish. And now he can. So thanks to just 2 frames faster backdash, that means he's not in like the have-not camps of defending himself against throw loops. More fun stuff. Stand medium punch is now +4 on hit, meaning it will naturally go into stand jab, or if you're using, say, on a drive rush, it will naturally go into crouch medium punch. So more numbers, more better. On that note, crouch medium kick is now +5 on hit. So if you use it, say, in a drive rush, it's kind of awkward because he's like out of range sometimes on certain moves. That makes it off a drive rush +9. And it's one of those deals where like it's not what you want to do all the time, but since it's +9, it'll mean it'll go into stand medium kick. Like ideally, you would want to go for something special cancelable like crouch medium punch, and then go into like flash axe or something like that. But sometimes you can be at awkward ranges where like that won't hit, but medium kick will hit. So in those awkward situations, he now has something he can connect into if you're not sure and you think you're going to whiff crouch medium punch or something like that. So quality of life, right? And hey, speaking of quality of life, back medium kick is more advantage on block. It was already +1, but now it's +2 on block, meaning it's just all the more scary. We like those plus frames if you're, you know, command grab oriented, right? Make them scared to hit buttons, and then we dunk them. More fun stuff. Sweet. Can go into Prowler now. So just go into stance, and then boom, you're good to go. More good quality of life. So stance shoulder, since we're talking about stance. So if stance shoulder hits as a punish counter, and now takes a full drive gauge away from the opponent. Has to be punish counter, but still, losing a full drive gauge, that's not nothing. That's pretty nice. Stance lariat is now armored for longer. More fun stuff. So jumping. So his jump medium punch can now go into crossbody chop, and it's a natural combo in the air. So this gives air to air more value, and when it dumps the opponent out, it dumps him out like right in front of you, basically, as long as it connects. So, you know, that's good for grab range distance, right? So it's another neat little thing to just enforce the grab. And for our next one, we're actually going to switch out to Ryu because he got a really strong anti-fireball tool. They gave the leaping command grab a lot of projectile invincibility on top of extending the range of the move. So if you know throws are coming, or rather if you know the fireball's coming, you can react to that stuff now at most ranges, not like literally full screen, and grab them. So now, kind of against more zoning heavy characters, it's a legitimate thing they got to watch out for. So that's actually really, really nice. And it's impossible for they said they gave heavy grab just the slightest range increase. It has to be like a pixel from my testing if there is there, but they say it's there, so I'll take their word for it. That has the tiniest range increase. But yeah, between like having a new like tool to beat people who throw projectiles, having a real backdash now, you know, the plus on block stuff's more plus, you know, some new combo route. Like, this is all upside for Alex. That's actually really, really nice. And what about Ingrid? So Ingrid is our, well, not anymore newest character, but is our last new character, and thus doesn't need too many changes. So one, just stand light kick is now +3 on hit, which means, say, if you go into a drive rush from it, it'll now link in the crouch medium punch. So just a bit more utility for something a little quick. Although keep in mind, the range isn't great, so it might push you out unless you're very close beside them. Medium kick, this is a nice change. So this is +4 on hit. +4 on hit with a punish counter means she will now combo into heavy spin. And from here, you know, you can get more advanced combos, right? You get some pretty tasty damage. So that's a pretty serious whiff punish, because like this is, even though it's a shorter range move, it's a fast move. So if you believe in your whiff punish game, you can now get a lot off of it. Also, heavy fireball, the one that's angled upwards, and also the enhanced fireball that's angled upwards as well. They both leave the opponent in the air just a little bit longer and leave them just a little bit closer. So as long as they're on the ball, you can get more follow-ups and like, well, get any follow-ups really at all, right? So pay attention, but now basically if they jump into that stuff, it's just going to be a lot more deadly for them. And that is season 4. So as we've gone over everything, like, it's certainly good quality of life buffs for most of the cast. Like, I'm not arguing with that. It is. Is this an exciting patch? Is this going to bring you back if you're gone for a long time? Maybe not. Capcom, we all know, plays it very safe. As of the time of me making this video, Marvel Tokon comes out in a few days. And I don't think this patch is going to stop people from playing Dokkan. Let's put it that way. I think it's a good patch, like almost every patch. I think it's good for the health of the game. It moves the game forward. They are clearly more interested in some characters than others. Like Ryu, who's already like definitively one of the best characters in the game, got a buff. Characters who could use a lot more. Do they get a lot more? Not really. But that's been the story of the game from the start, right? We got our newest character here, and we got some interesting new characters coming in the season. We're going to see how they shape up the game. It's day 1 at the time of me recording this, so who knows? But yeah, that is your Season 4 patch guide. If you made it to this point, hey, leave a like, please. It sincerely helps the video. And other than that, my friends, hey, that's it for me. That's it for the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.